If Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk if Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk casting aspersions at TPUSA and the people who work here, who worked with Charlie every single day, his best friends, to cast aspersions at Mikey McCoy and Andrew Colvin and Blake Neff and Tyler Boyer, and yes, at Erica Kirk, and to imply or outright claim complicity in a cover-up over Charlie's murder, to spew absolutely baseless trash implicating everyone from French intelligence to Mossad to members of TPUSA in Charlie's murder or a cover-up in that murder, then we, as people with a microphone, have a moral obligation to call that out by name. And the people who refuse to condemn Candace's truly vicious attacks, and some of them are speaking here, are guilty of cowardice. Tucker Carlson, it is not an excuse to go silent on Candace's targeting of TPUSA. Or to mirror her bullshit lines of questioning because you love Candace personally. The same holds true of Megyn Kelly, a person I consider a friend, characterizing Candace as a young mother and thus shying away from condemning her actions or fibbing about them. That is a non-starter. Meghan Markle is a young mother. Ilhan Omar is a young mother. That doesn't matter. And when Megyn said this week, quote, "My goal and my job here is to try to understand, yes, where Candace is coming from on this," and says she sees no purpose in inserting herself, quote, into this on one side, that is a moral and logical absurdity. There is only one moral side here, Erica Kirk's side. We have a duty to take responsibility for what we say and do. If we hire awful people, we're responsible for that. I have some experience there, as you might suspect. That means that if we offer a guest for your viewing, we owe it to you to ask the kinds of questions that actually get at the truth. If we agree with the guest, that's fine, but we should own it. So, for example, if you host a Hitler apologist, Nazi-loving, anti-American piece of refuse like Nick Fuentes, you know, the Nick Fuentes who said that the Vice President of the United States is a, quote, fat gay race traitor married to a Jeet. The person who said that Charlie Kirk was a, quote, retarded idiot. The person who said, and pardon my language here, it's his quote, that he, quote, took Turning Point USA and fucked it, and that's why it's filled with groypers. If you have that person on your show and you proceed to glaze him, you ought to own it. There is a reason that Charlie Kirk despised Nick Fuentes, and indeed even chided Dinesh D'Souza for debating him. He knew that Nick Fuentes is an evil troll, and that building him up is an act of moral imbecility. And that is precisely what Tucker Carlson did. He built Nick Fuentes up. And he ought to take responsibility for that, just as he ought to take responsibility for glazing pornographer and alleged sex trafficker Andrew Tate, or for mainstreaming fake historian and pseudo-Nazi apologist Daryl Cooper as America's best and most honest popular historian. Hosts are indeed responsible for the guests they choose and the questions they ask those guests. Because we have a duty to truth, we also have a duty to provide you with evidence of the claims that we make. Emotive accusations, conspiracy theories, and just guessing questions, that's lazy and stupid and misleading. None of them are a substitute for truth. None of them are a substitute for evidence. So, when Candace Owens says, "I don't know, but I know," that is retarded, and we are all more retarded for having heard it.
I see things differently from Ben Shapiro. I've got to tell you, whilst I respect him, I respect his faith, and I respect that we worship and praise the same God. I recognize that. But I believe it's important and vital to have conversations with people that oppose difficult opinions and opposing opinions. I've spoken to Nick Fuentes, I've spoken to Candace Owens. They're Christians like you and like me, and were they not? They're broken human beings like you, like me, like Ben Shapiro, like Tucker Carlson. No one's better than anyone else. We're all on our knees, shoulder to shoulder, under the blood of Christ. And What I would advocate for is supreme compassion for Erica Kirk as a human being, as a woman, as a mother that's lost her husband, as a woman who has to like, I left my kids to come here today, man. Like my little boy who's 2, my little boy whose carved heart led me by the hand to Christ, that little boy that I handed over to anesthetist, hold on a minute, I can do this. Anesthetist. Someone here with your accent? Anesthetists. People that do, oh, let's just cut this bit. It's not being streamed live, is it? No one cares about this. Everyone's just like, did you see what Ben Shapiro said about Tucker? And then Tucker's gonna, oh my God, man, oh man.
Well, honestly, I can't believe that Tucker Carlson would have an interview with somebody and not grab them by the throat, frankly.
We're children of God. No one knows anything. You're broken, I'm broken, Ben Shapiro's broken. We're all wrecked and ruined. Christianity has not been tried and found wanting. It has been found difficult and left untried. We have not yet tried to create the Christian nation that America may yet become. As an Englishman, as a visitor, I pray that you're able to do it. I pray that you can build a Christian America to be a shining city on a hill, an exemplar for the rest of the world. I pray that in the name of the Son, the Father, and the Holy Spirit. As C.S. Lewis says, that the connection between the holy and humility is humor. We must be able to laugh. Otherwise, I'm English. How am I going to cope with the embarrassment of knowing, I know Candace Owens. I believe her to be a good person. Erica Kirk deserves love and respect and reverence as a grieving widow and endless compassion. I know Tucker Carlson. He's my friend. I love him. Ben Shapiro, I respect him a great deal. I don't know him, super well. But I'm English. I could explode with embarrassment without a sense of humor, just from the stuff that's happened in this room already tonight. And what we have to find is a kind of unity, not only among conservative pundits, but between Americans everywhere, Republicans and Democrats. These phony false labels, these fake taxonomies have to be put aside if you are going to save your country and the world. And one way to do that might be by laughing about it. I hope so, otherwise I'm out of a job.
This is the last event that Charlie will have left us. That hit me this morning and as I was flying out here. This is the last one. He planned out his tour, he wrote his book, and this is the last one. The people on this stage, and the many more people in the seats, all of you, you are the people that he invited. This is the team. This is the army, right here. You might not like some of the people that he brought onto the team. You might prefer that he invited some people that he excluded from the team. But this is it. And whatever you think, the leftists who perpetrated, excused, justified, and celebrated Charlie's assassination make no distinctions between any of us, any of the people in this room. We are all the same to them. The baby boomers will soon exit the political stage. Younger generations will take charge, and the youngest political generation, the Zoomers, will demand solutions to the specific political problems they face in employment, in housing, in a fraying social order. We need to give them answers. They deserve answers, and they are the future of this country, and if the conservative movement is to have any future, it needs to bring them in. Conservatives, a lot of Zoomers in the audience, I see. Conservatives can either confront these new challenges with humility and patience, hearing each other out and refining our message and our vision to match our moment, or each faction can demand all or nothing, retreat to its corner, mumble the same old shibboleths, and hand the country over to the people who would destroy us all together. The worst thing about assassination is that it works. Some people really matter, and it matters when you take them out. And I pray that this will be the exception. I pray that the right can sort out its differences with patience and grace and plot a path forward that leads us all to victory. That we are all here together At this moment, Christmas time, looking ahead to the new year, all together looking ahead to the future of this country at a crucial moment, is an opportunity and a blessing. And I am reminded that. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God.
I just got here, and I feel like I missed the first part of the program. I hope I didn't miss anything meaningful. But I just want to say, I don't think I did. No, I'm just kidding. I watched it. I laughed. That kind of bitter, sardonic laugh that emerges from you when, like, Upside Down World arrives. When your dog starts doing your taxes and you're like, wait, it's not supposed to work this way. To hear calls for, like, deplatforming and denouncing people at a Charlie Kirk event, I'm like, what? This is hilarious. The last several months of Charlie's life were devoted in part to arguing about this event, in fact, this speech, in fact, my speech here, which he asked me to do earlier this year, this summer, and was immediately put under just immense pressure from people who give money to Turning Point, I would assume good people, but who wanted him to take me off the roster. And this has all become public, and the whole thing is so sad that I never talk about it, except to say Charlie stood firm in his often stated and deeply held belief that people should be able to debate, and that if you have something valid to say, if you're telling the truth, you ought to be able to explain it calmly and in detail to people who don't agree with you, and that you shouldn't immediately resort to shut up racist. I wonder why. Why are you asking that question? I detect in the question a certain evil in your soul. And everyone listening should know that listening to you implicates them, and that they someday may be asked to denounce you, and that friendship is not a reason to defend someone. Love is no defense. I kind of thought we'd reached the end of that, and as far as I'm concerned, we have, and I'm not going to play by those rules. I'm not going to engage in that. If someone doesn't like what I think, fine with me, as long as I get to express it. That's my view. But let me just say something more broadly about where the conservative movement, whatever that is, the people who voted for Trump, the Trump coalition, and the supposed civil war going on within that group. I don't think it's real. I think it's fake. I think it's totally fake. I don't think, and I've had cause to think a lot about this because I've been unwittingly involved in the proxy war. There are two things going on here, and I'm not guessing. One is jockeying for position post-Trump. So Trump created this amazing coalition, bringing in people who had never voted Republican before but were very enthusiastic about him. And that coalition took over the most powerful government in the history of the world. So there's a lot at stake here. And so the question becomes, who gets to run it after? Who gets the machinery when the president exits the scene? And there are a lot of people in Washington, maybe even in this room, who aren't quite sure what they want, but they know they don't want J.D. Vance. Okay? And so the attack, and you heard it from the stage tonight, there's someone here who's a very bad man, and he's friends with J.D. Vance. Could be me. I am sad about being used in a proxy war over politics in which I'm not involved in any level. I'm not an advisor to anybody. But I just think I should say that out loud, okay? There are people who are mad at J.D. Vance, and they're stirring up a lot of this in order to make sure he doesn't get the nomination. So this is true. So this raises the obvious question, which is, why are they mad at J.D. Vance? Such a nice guy, which he is. They're mad at J.D. Vance because he is the one person, and things could change, of course, but right now, who really kind of buys the core idea of the Trump coalition. Now, what is that idea? Ladies and gentlemen, anyone know? Anyone know? America first. It's America first. It's really simple. Which I notice some people are pretty anxious to retire that phrase. Remember when they told us? That's a bigoted phrase. Really? It is. And then they just decided to ignore it in favor of MAGA, Make America Great Again, which I'm obviously for. But how do you make America great again? By putting America first. Now, what does that mean? I'll be more precise. It's not a complicated concept. It's a really simple concept. The U.S. government, the largest organization in human history with the most well-funded military in history, ought to, in all the decisions it makes, put the interests of American citizens first. That's it. By the way, your politics do not trump my love for other people. I remember my brother once said, I have one brother who's my best friend, and he once said something lunatic, as brothers do. And I remember all these reporters, one from the Washington Post, which used to be a newspaper in Washington, calling me and being like, will you denounce your brother? I said, son, if my brother went on a drug-related murder spree, I would not denounce him. What? Are you for drug-related murder sprees? No, I'm for my brother. And nothing will ever make me not for my brother. Now, I'd probably tell him no more drug-related murder sprees for you. I'm not for that. I'm not for a lot of things, actually. But I will never, ever denounce people I love to satisfy the mob. Right? I mean, it's crazy. So as you think through, like, what should this movement be, and what side should you take on the conservative civil war? Whoa! You already know the answer. You're on the side of America first. And if they can't tell you why it's America first, you just won the argument, because they don't have one. Shut up, Nazi is no different from shut up, racist. It's a little more annoying, actually.
Thank you for thinking for yourself and being part of a movement, because that's really what all of this is. If you want the full story, you want to go deeper, go to blazetv.com/Glenn. Go there right now, sign up, no interruptions, just the truth, uncensored and unfiltered. Don't just watch, take a stand. And I'll see you over there in a minute.